bitch. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the motherfucking #1 comedy podcast about mental health. And I'm so fucking hyped today because we're recording on the day that the 50th episode just released. And I cannot believe my fucking baby has 50 episodes in it. And I have a special, very buff mother with me today. I have Alyse Kabob in the house.
Hey, happy to be here. What's up, y'all?
Yay! I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Honestly, honored, flattered.
Yes! We're honored and we're flattered. There's a lot of exciting things to talk about today. There's a lot of exciting things that's happening actually in both of our lives. And the reason why I wanted to bring Alyse on is so that we can talk about her artistry and like her creative passions, all of her projects, and we're kind of like on the same wavelength. Like with everything, and I feel like we're always on the same wavelength actually. Like every time me and you connect, we're always like, bitch, me too.
Relatable.
So, exactly. So before we begin everything, if you are not watching on YouTube, please head over to YouTube to check out the full video content so you can see Alyse's beautiful face, and you can see that we literally changed this setup for the 7th fucking time. But I need a studio. We are manifesting a studio.
And improvising with what you got.
Exactly. First of all, I just want to start the episode out by saying that I am so fucking grateful. I am so fucking grateful. Like, first of all, I'm grateful for myself. I'm grateful for the amount of work and consistency that I've been proving to myself. Second, I'm grateful for the community and the platform and the foundation that this has laid. I'm grateful for everybody that comes here and listen. I'm grateful for everybody that like shares or even find this podcast like meaningful and that you connect to it and you relate to it, and then you tell me that you heard something that I said that you feel the same. That's all, honestly, that's all like the success for me. It's like if someone were to be like, hey, I listened to your podcast when I was sad and it made me feel like I'm not alone. It made me feel like I was in the conversation with you, and that's literally all I want. So I'm very grateful for that, but most of all, I'm really grateful for the amount of connection and help that I've been able to get from this podcast, from Jules being with me, from all the guests coming on here, from Stephanie working with us, from Johnny literally answering every fucking phone call of mine, asking him the most retarded fucking question about technology, to Arena now like taking on like helping me film, editing, like also Arena is breaking shit down for me like I'm a 3rd grader, and I appreciate that so fucking much. So I just want to start this episode out with so much gratitude, because that's all I feel. I feel so much gratitude that I get to do this. I get to have fun with my friends. I get to make friends. Little me is like freaking the fuck out, to be honest, because like little me is like, yo, first of all, I didn't know we were that cool.
We made it.
Second of all, you got cool friends. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm very happy and excited, and I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm grateful to share this episode with you.
So happy to be here and so proud of you, watching this grow from the very beginning to where it is now and continue to grow. It's inspiring to me and to all the people in the community, what you're doing, watching your friends grow and make something out of nothing. And giving something for everybody, like a platform for people to talk about touchy subjects or things that are going on in our lives. I think that life gets really hectic. And
yes, life is wavy, baby.
Wavy, like.
You know what's crazy? You know the video you posted of that thing? Mm-hmm. I saw it like a month ago, and I was literally, the first thought is, oh my god, Alyse. Because Alyse always tells you, life is wavy.
It really is. Life has its highs and lows, and you just gotta cowabunga, ride the wave, baby. For real. Whenever shit gets really bad, and I'm like, oh, is there gonna be an end to this? I just remember that there's always that high of the wave that you get at, where like, I never want this to end.
Yeah.
But it has to, for you to appreciate the ups and the downs, you know?
That's actually the one key that has helped me stay in the moment and like really taking for things for what they are, right? Because I understand that if I can't dwell in the bad, I also cannot like prolong the good, because the more that I try to prolong the good, it's just gonna make other things come out of it that wasn't like meant to be. You know, things are supposed to end when it ends, and I apply this to people as well. This was a really hard lesson that I learned last year, which is that I cannot force people to be more than what they are supposed to be in my life. I cannot look at friends, right, and think, oh my God, I love them so much, I want to do everything with them. That's not realistic. You can't do everything with everyone. There are certain people where you have that connection to where if you're lucky enough, you have that connection and you can actually do everything with that one person or two people or whatever it is. Those are very awesome and rare connections. But realistically, what I've found in my adult life is that I used to long for this like group of everyday friends, group of like close-knit friends that we do everything together, like in Friends, in How I Met Your Mother, in all of these things that I grew up watching. That was like my biggest dream, right? And so I made that mistake a lot with a lot of people that I meet in my adult life. I try to like mold them into what I want them to be, and then I try to mold myself into what I think would make them happy. And either way, it never works out, and it's always because I'm trying to make you something that you're not supposed to be in my life. Like in a romantic sense as well. If I look at like a partner and I think like blah 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 blah, but it's not supposed to, the more that I try to prolong that connection, the more that I try to make that connection for more than what it is, that connection eventually will end up bad, because you know,
you were trying to force it
you're doing too much.
You're doing too much.
Doing too much.
Exactly. Sometimes you gotta pump the brakes and let it be what it is.
Exactly. I think all the time you have to pump the brakes.
Always keep one foot like close to the brake.
No, you know how in your car there's like I don't know if people's car got that emergency handle that you pull the fuck up.
Keep a hand on it.
Your e-brake, baby. You need to always have an e-brake in your life.
So true.
But anyways, how are you doing? Are you mentally ill or chill right now?
I am mentally chill. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling super inspired right now. After going to Okeechobee and seeing other artists and creators, vendors, and being around a community of people that were really loving and caring. I feel like we got really lucky this year to have awesome neighbors that all looked out for each other, and being around that made me feel more inspired to continue on what I'm doing with my art and to get a little bit more creative, get out of my comfort zone.
You know what's crazy? The collective meet that's this Saturday, I want to introduce you to someone, and she's a makeup artist, but she does like weird
like special effects?
Yeah, like reptile shit and whatever the fuck. Like now, whenever I introduce people to the collective, I think of who is already in the collective and what these people can bring to them. So like I try to bring like plant people in for Amber, I try to bring makeup people in for you, I try to bring like music people in for like different people, I try to like I don't like, and it's just so cool. So like I'm really excited for you to meet this girl, because I feel like you guys can really connect, and she does like all these different like weird shit, like you would love her.
Yeah, see, I love that. I love the collective and everything that it is, because I truly have met some amazing people from that, and we didn't even really know each other.
No, yeah, I know. Exactly. I feel like sometimes, okay, this is the thing. I feel like the older I get, the more in tune I get with myself. Meaning, it wasn't that I never knew before, I just never listened. I've always known myself. I've always known what I want, what I like, what I don't like, blah, 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 all that shit, right? But I never listened to it. And then but I can't blame myself for that, because I was brought up in an environment where I wasn't able to listen to my voice because my voice was being shut down. Therefore, I went and attached myself to every other voices, thinking that those voices is what gonna get me up. But now I realize that those voices ain't gonna do shit for me, because the only one that can do it is mine. And so I have made mistakes of getting excited with people, getting into connection and whatever with people, and then way too soon, way too early, way too whatever, and then I realize I don't actually like them, their values and whatever, and then I end up having to like back away and all this shit. So I was very hesitant, especially when it comes to girls. I was very hesitant to make fast friends with girls. For some reason, I just thought of you for the plant trade, and I was like, I think she would like this. And I'm so glad you said yes, because when you said yes, I was like, oh my God, first of all, this bitch didn't flake. I was used to bitches flaking on me, which is why I was like, I ain't doing this shit no more. But like you showed up, and this became like a whole fucking, and now we'd have like friends group and Tangled, and we went to Okeechobee together. Actually, we went to EDC together. We went to Okeechobee together. We've done a lot of shit together.
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, I feel like we connected, and it was on the basis of, you know, both liking plants.
Mm-hmm.
And then it flourished into so much more, and we created I feel like a true friendship, and connected with other people. Your friends have become like my close friends, like Nathan.
Your friends have become like my, like,
yeah,
you know.
Now we're working together, you know, for the fashion show and all of this stuff. I'm just super grateful, and I think that it's great that you strategically, you know, think about who you're bringing together when it comes to the collective, because I mean, if not that's what it's like, you know, about, is bringing people together that are
it's supposed to be a curated space, so I can't like I'm very like true Virgo in the sense of like, I know what I want, I'm doing what I want, I will get that shit done, and no one is going to steer me from the vision that I have. So I opened up the collective. You better fucking believe I'm gonna control who goes in and out of the collective, and not in a way where I'm trying to control everything, but more so I'm promising these people that I'm curating safe spaces. How am I gonna promise these people that they're gonna come to a safe space to make friends and connection if I don't filter what is going into that space? You know what I'm saying? Like, I am very like strict on the shit that I do.
I always wondered how you did that, how you would go about filtering it. Like, say maybe you invite somebody that you don't really know, and then you find out that the vibe is not, you guys are just not vibing together. How do you go about filtering that?
So I trust like the initial instinct of mine that's like, okay, like I think this person would fit into this group, and then I see how it goes, and if it goes well, great. If it doesn't, I immediately will cap that shit. Like, I do not let things linger, like, at all. Not a friendship, not a relationship, not connections, not nothing. Once we're done, we're fucking done. You do not take up real estate in my mind, in my house, and nothing. So
your Virgo is showing.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, like, but I try to run away from it so much. I try to deny it so much. I wanted to be a cool girl. I wanted to be chill. I didn't want to be anal about anything. I wanted to be the cool girl. I wanted to just be so cool. And honestly, not because I think that I'm so cool that people should think that I'm so cool. It comes from, I was bullied so fucking much when I was little that the only thing I know is to protect myself. And how do I protect myself? Put up this fucking wall that no one can touch me, by being the cool girl, by being like whatever. Because by then, if I'm so cool, no one can see that they can actually hurt me. And all of that is a result of me constantly going back to like my inner child, but not really knowing. It was constantly my inner child coming out and me not knowing what she needed. And now I'm like so protective, like, of everything, of myself, of my ways, of like, I will not shift myself for anyone's opinions, because all of my life I have chameleoned myself into everyone. You know? I feel like I talked for so long. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I want to touch on going back to what you said about, you know, coming to that point where you start listening to yourself. And I feel like the older that you get, the more that your inner soul is just screaming at you, you know, for you to listen, and you have to decide to listen. But when you're younger, you know, when you're a teenager, your parents tell you to do something, you don't want to listen. And even when your soul is telling you something deep inside, you don't want to listen to that either. You have to prove it wrong. Your pride is so much bigger when you're younger. But the older you get, the more you listen to yourself.
Exactly. All of the work that I'm undoing, not all of it is from my fucking families and bullies and whatever. Half of it is me. Half of it is me running from myself. What I'm discovering now is, like, the reason why I'm so protective of myself now is because literally, Alyse, I'm 24 now, and just now do I know who I am. Just now am I scratching the surface of, this is cool with me, I'm gonna let this slide, I'm not gonna let this slide. But it was almost like before, I have always had an inner voice telling me like, you don't like that, why are you doing that? But then my outer voice would be like, we're fucking doing it, bitch.
We're doing it.
Like, you're wrong. And now I'm like, imagine how much further you could have been if you would have just listened to yourself.
And the older you get, the louder that voice gets too. Because now I'm 27, and I feel like now there's no other option but to listen to that and to what feels right to me.
Exactly.
That's it. There's no questions asked. Doesn't matter what anyone says or anyone does. This is what feels right to me, and as long as I feel good mentally about it, that's what we're going with.
So does that apply to like your makeup and how you started, or why you wanted to even take the artistry like seriously and all of that?
Most definitely. I think the biggest obstacle for me was overcoming imposter syndrome. I think that a lot of artists face that when you're putting your art out there and you're being vulnerable, especially when you're doing art on someone else's face.
Yeah. It's
really intimidating, and you don't want to disappoint them. So instead of putting myself out there, I just wasn't doing it at all for fear of disappointment. And a lot of my work also was in weddings, which is a really high stress environment, and there's a lot of pressure on doing someone's wedding makeup, and I get that because I would probably be the same way if it was my wedding day. But doing that made me realize that maybe that's not really the route that I want to go. And again, listening to yourself is like, I really don't want to do this, but you have to do it. Like, okay, this is the internal dialogue. I really don't want to do this, don't really like weddings, but you have to do this. You must do this to become a makeup artist. Like, this is part of it. And then, coming after taking a little bit of space to rebrand myself and kind of pivot, and what I was doing is when I realized, you know what, you can do whatever the hell you want. It's your business. It's your artistry. Just go with that.
Hell yeah. I remember telling you to change your brand to creative makeup or creative cosmetics.
I literally put that in my bio yesterday. I swear.
I remember like having the conversation of like you like rebranding almost, and I was like, wow, but it's really cool because I be watching your shit that you've been putting out, and I'm like, she's doing it. She's doing it. Oh, also everybody, Alyse is a makeup artist.
Follow me on the gram.
If we didn't like mention that officially before, at Alyse Artistry.
The Artistry by Alyse.
Oh shit, my bad.
Artistry by Alyse. Follow me. That one actually does have my real name on it, not my kabob name, but I've been thinking about switching it.
You're just gonna make kabob your whole brand?
Honestly, yeah. I see a vision for myself.
Hell yeah.
With the celebrities and with a bigger following, and I don't want people to know my real last name.
That's all right, dude. And I see a big vision.
Look at
for
Lipstick
you
Nick.
too.
Okay?
I know.
Nobody knows her last name.
You know what's wild? You know what's wild? You know Nikki Tutorial?
Yeah.
I went on a whole deep dive on Nikki Tutorial, my dog. And what's funny is that her whole brand and her husband is Mr. Tutorial, and that's not even her fucking real last name. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely.
That's what it is.
We're trademarking kabob right now.
Yeah, kabob. Creative cosmetics with kabob. Come on. It's all about protecting your identity, and the thing about where technology is and social media is you really can brand yourself the way that you want to. And if you don't, when you're younger and you go through this teenage angst stage and this middle school stage where you don't know who you are and you don't know what you want to be and you feel uncomfortable in your skin, your body's changing. Now you can be whoever the hell you want to be, and that's the beauty of evolution and the world changing every day.
Yeah, and I think it's very important for people to make that space as safe as possible, because one of the podcast idols of mine, she used her internet name for forever until now. She's all successful and whatever, and now she's saying her real name on podcasts and whatever, but before she would just refer to herself as Weezy WTF, Weezy what the fuck, and now I hear her real name a lot, and I'm like, holy shit, that's so cool that she got to. But her story is that she started the podcast in a corporate world.
I was gonna ask, how did it?
Yeah, no, because
change?
Her podcast started when her and her partner were still corporate American women, and that's why she had that name and whatever. And eventually, now she's a whole fucking podcast mogul and whatever. So
that's awesome.
But I think it's funny also that when we first made this podcast, my name was, I I didn't mean for it to be like that, right? Like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, everything is me and Jules. But when we were putting up stuff, I put like and whatever the podcast when you look it up, it just says Khanh. And like it literally, it has always just say Khanh.
Oh.
Like it doesn't say mental chillness, it doesn't say Khanh and Jules, it says Khanh.
I've never noticed that. I always saw mental chillness.
Yeah, no, like underneath, I think underneath where it's like it has like a space where it's like where the creator is, I guess, it just says Khanh. And I was like, for some reason that was very powerful to me because I tried to run away from my name my whole life. I hated my name. Like, and that's why, like, just now am I, like, more, like, my name is Khanh, like, this is how you pronounce it, like, whatever, but before, I used to, like, disassociate myself from my name so hard because I was disassociating myself from my culture so hard because I kept getting bullied and I didn't have anyone in the culture to include me in there, so I try to run away from it as much as possible. And now, if I ever blow up for anything at all, best believe Khanh is the only thing that's out there, and best believe people are gonna know Khanh for Khanh, not Khanh from Star Trek.
I just want to say, I love your name. When I first met you and you introduced yourself to me, you know, I read your name online because that's how we met. We met online, kind of like just following
I remember the first time me and her had a conversation. She said my ad name, my old ad name. You were like Mother Eartha, and I was like,
you know, I didn't know.
I know, but I was the same. I was like, what is this bitch's name? I thought your last name was Kabob.
Oh, people still have on their phones like Kabob is the last name. I've worked with people that have looked me up on Facebook as Kabob, and I just like go with it. You know,
that's so funny.
Your name is the only one that my boyfriend has ever remembered from my friends, just so you know.
That's amazing.
Yep, never remembers anyone's name, but he remembered yours. And my sister, too, like, loves your name. She loves you, period.
I love her.
You're the only person that she connected with on our birthdays. So I have a twin sister. Birthdays for us are always
a little rough.
A little rough. We always argue, and it's that, like, you know, twin thing. It just... I'm sure if any other twin is listening right now, you could relate. You just can't explain it. It's just that's just how birthdays are. But my sister loved Khanh. That was the only person that she vibed with.
I love her. Me, her, and Edwin actually was in the car together, smoking my joint, bonding.
The two most unfriendly people I know. And
the third.
And the third.
Literally the three most antisocial people in that group was in the car together smoking a joint.
And now it makes sense.
I know. That's so funny. But speaking of you having a twin, I feel that, okay, so out of, in my life, I have like a group of like a handful of people who are very specific, right? Who are just very specific in their ways of being, in what they want, and all of these things. And I think it's really, really beautiful because it's pretty different from myself. It's pretty different from like how I grew up and how I see the world and whatever it is. And so I feel like because you had a twin in the womb, you know, and whatever, getting to know you and getting to know your, how do I say that? Like you're fond of a community, of constantly being surrounded by a lot of connections and whatever. It makes so much sense, right? And I think about it all the time because I think about myself. And I think the reason why I listen to a lot of different content and podcasts and all of whatever about polyamory and different relationship types and different dynamics and whatever the fuck is because I am so different. But because I'm different, I would never let that steer me from not understanding. So because I'm so different, I like to understand it so much. And so I was on Instagram one day and I saw this girl who is like I guess her whole entire channel and whatever is about introducing the idea of what are they called when it's a family of like 3 parents raising a child?
Like a triad?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, basically. And her whole channel is about how her and her husband has a child and her husband's girlfriend lives with them to help them raise the child.
I've actually followed or, come across a page similar.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's the same as the white lady.
Yeah, and is a girl from Black?
Yes.
Oh,
connections. For real. So I went on a whole deep dive on that because I thought that was so beautiful. Because the whole message is that it takes a village to raise a fucking child. And that idea has really been removed from today's time because, shockingly, this is the loneliest generation, and not generation as in age, but the generation of us all living here right now. This is the loneliest generation of people. This is the least connected, because, and think about it, it all makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But the idea of a village raising a child is so far from what we know here in America, right? So I just wanted to ask you, where like the, well, no, I wanna know like your actual stance, you know, and what your beliefs are in like the different dynamics of families and relationships, and why that works for you, and why you're so like drawn to it, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. So I am a. First, I want to say that anyone can do whatever the hell they want with their life. I support them. I want you to live your best life, whether you want to be with one person or have a whole tribe community with you, or, you know, some people just prefer being isolated and like being alone, and that's okay too. I thrive in community environments. I love love. I love having, you know, a group of friends with me. I love staying connected. I do need to isolate sometimes to recharge, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's a beautiful thing now that polyamory is becoming a lot more known in the world, like that monogamy is not the only way to be in a relationship. Because I think, you know, in the past, in like the early, like the 20s to the 50s, people would find one partner when you're in high school, then you have a kid with them and you marry them and you spend your whole life with them.
And then you die with them.
And then you die with them. Even if you're miserable, even if they treat you horribly, you have to stay with them because you are so frowned upon if you don't. And then I think that in like I want to say the 80s or 90s is when it became a little bit more common for people to get divorced and to split up, especially in the Western world. In the United States, it's a lot more common that if you're getting treated wrong, peace out. Like, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. And I think that's what's created this generation of lonely people. But I do think that now, I think the next generation and the generation after us, which is like, I guess like the
I feel like we're
millennials
going
and Gen
back
Zers,
to the fluidity. We're going back to the, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot more fluidity in the way that people approach love and relationships, and you don't need to, like, you know, be in a polyamorous relationship to have a tribe to raise your children, you know? But
no, you can literally have that with your friends.
Yeah, you can like literally live with your best friends and all be like putting in efforts to raise a child. And I think that our society is kind of scared of children now. Like our parents always say, "Don't have kids. Look at what I'm going through right now." That's what my dad used to say to me. He loves us, don't get me wrong, but I know he definitely would have been a lot richer if he didn't have us.
Oh, God.
I think every parent can relate to that, whether
so
y'all want to admit it or not.
Well, they chose that shit.
They did.
So you chose your fate, ma'am.
My dad did not choose to have two, though.
Oh my God.
Imagine being a twin parent. Blessings to all the twin mommies and daddies out there, because y'all really doing it.
Hell yeah.
Y'all really doing it.
For the fact that you birthed twice in a row, back to back, first of all.
Also, I want to go back to, like, you know, talking about polyamory for a second, because I think that there was also a stigma about polyamorous relationships because of, like, you know what?
It was just very misunderstood.
Yes, definitely. And there was, you know, you can be polyamorous and be a polygamist, but being a polygamist and being polyamorous, I think, are two different things. I don't know if I said that right or wrong.
I'm pretty sure you said it right.
They're different in the sense that, like, in the polygamy communities, and where there's polygamists, it's like one man with a bunch of different wives that, yes, they're raising children together as a tribe, but the women don't really have rights to be, you know, fluid in their sexuality. Or
so basically they're just serving up the one.
They're just serving up a man, which is like,
fuck
that. No, that's a no for me, man.
It needs to be the other way around. I'm the daddy and all you is my bitches.
Yeah, like I could see a relationship like that being, I think I would be a little bit more understanding of it, or open to being in that type of relationship if I could also, like, you know, the wives could really be my wives instead of my sisters.
Yeah. When people approach you and tell you, like, oh, I could never this, I could never that, like, is there anything from your experience that you could tell them that genuinely could shift their understanding of polyamory?
Yeah, so from what I've experienced, I think that polyamory really is like an evolution of love, because I've been very fortunate to be in a relationship with somebody that loves me, and we have gone through so much together, and me realizing and coming to my truth that I love men and women. I love my boyfriend so much, but I also know that I love women too. And because of societal standards, I don't want to limit myself just to being with a man when I know that I also love women too. And it really takes trusting the partner that you're with and like having an open line of communication and synchronicity to be able to discuss these type of things and overcome these types of, you know, changes in your relationship. You have to be big communicators, and it's not easy. I haven't had a successful polyamorous relationship yet, but it's all about you know, being open with each other and communicating what works for you and what doesn't. And I think that the reason it doesn't work most of the time is because when there's something that's not working for you and you want to talk to your primary about it, that's not fair to the third person that's in it. It needs to be a relationship that's discussed on all three corners all together, because the relationship is not, you can't, of course, you know, your primary takes kind of like a back seat when you're bringing somebody else in, but it can also make you stronger bonds together. And I guess, I don't know, I feel like I'm going off the rails on this.
No, so how do you communicate, or how do you, because that's another thing that fascinates me. I'm just now working on my communication. I can barely communicate to one person. Bitch, I gotta communicate like this whole circle of what we want and what's going on. And I also like, once I feel something, I'm like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
And so like it's very hard to do that with 4 other people in the line, you know? So how do you keep an open and clear communication, and how do you try to like keep that respect like between everybody?
So I grew up in a household that did not communicate, and when we did communicate, a lot of the reactions were very reactive. So it kind of scared me of, I had a fear of communication and a fear of being honest when I was younger, because I was afraid of getting yelled at for being honest about doing something bad, or, you know, like, it scared me. But I know now, after moving out of my house from being a kid and moving on to college and living here now, is that communication is key in literally everything that you do if you're working in a group or a team. And sometimes it's hard to have hard conversations, but it feels so much better to get it off your chest than to not. And I think the obstacle is really not about communicating it and saying it out loud. The obstacle is about compromising and finding a medium in the middle, something that works for you and for them. You should never, you know, put your wants and needs on the back burner because of somebody else. You have to be able to discuss what's going on, where your head's at, what feels right for you with your partner too, and your partners if you're with more than one person. And being able to like work through that together, I think, is key. You could live your whole life thinking that you're monogamous and you could never be with another person, but maybe you end up marrying somebody or you know, having a partnership with somebody for years, and then you guys, you know, sometimes the spark dwindles out and it takes a lot to like rekindle that flame, but sometimes you realize that maybe you love someone so much you would be honored to watch somebody else love them.
But
and
that's
like,
the most important like key to this all, right? And that's the thing that I think people have the hardest time comprehending and understanding, that someone can do what they can't imagine themselves doing. Like, they can't imagine themselves letting their 10-year boyfriend go fuck another girl or whatever the fuck. But like, I think that that's so beautiful that different people are able to arrive at different places of love and compassion and whatever. Like, the fact that like you love someone so much that you would be willing to surrender to something that you're not even able to give this person, but you love them so much that you're willing to let them go out beyond yourself to explore. But you trust in the connection with them so much that you're able to do that for each other. And I think that's like supreme love. Like you know, like there's like, yeah, we love each other as a couple, and then there's like we love each other so much as humans, and we trust each other so much that we know we're not going anywhere. So let's let each other explore things that we cannot give each other, and that's so fucking crazy. And that's why I feel like a lot of people like will put like oh, I can't do that because I'm too jealous, I'm too possessive, or whatever. But if you really like dissect it and understand it, it's extremely selfish and selfless. Selfish because you're trying to keep this person happy. Selfless because you're trying to keep this person happy. So you're doing both things, which is like really fucking cool. How's your experience? How's this going so far in your life? Like, have you been
So in case you guys didn't know, I'm polyamorous. It's been a journey with my male partner, especially because he's okay with not having a girlfriend. Yeah. He's okay with just being monogamous, which is like, that's what we are right now. It's just us two, but we're open to the idea of there being somebody else. And I think that it's funny that you asked, like, have you ever been in a situation where it's more for one person than it is for the other? I feel that's kind of similarly how it is for me, because my partner comes from a very more more conservative like lifestyle, and like, you know, you're with one person, you get married, you have kids, and that's the way it goes. Where I am like such a free spirit and a wild child. I'm so grateful that he loves me and accepts me for that and for being different. And I do want to say that polyamory is not really like, for me at least, it's different. It could be whatever you want it to be, but it's not really like about us just like venturing out and finding other people because our spark's not there. It's like, I love love, and I want to bring love together. I want us all to be
have a whole tribe,
you know?
Like literally.
Yeah, and for me, like we talked about earlier, tribe is so important in community, and I feel like because of how I am and such an extrovert, and I feel the most myself when I'm surrounded by people that love me and accept me and encourage me and inspire me. And that's what I want out of my relationship, and that's what I want out of my friendships. And I think that's how, for me, I can grow and evolve to be the best version of myself, is being surrounded by love.
I feel like because of my background, I have such a hard time with boundaries that I like. The reason why I speak of this in this way is because I feel that I am a very open person, and I am not opposed to any of this at all. It's just that right now, naturally, that's not what is calling me.
Yeah.
But I love it, and I want to understand it and whatever, and this is really fucking funny, but this is basically how I found out I was gay. I suppressed my sexuality, and I didn't even like allow myself to explore that portion in my younger years because of everything else that was going on. Like literally because of everything else that was going on, I didn't even think for a second like what my sexuality is, because I attached myself to boys at an early age, because out of everybody that was like bullying me and whatever, so were the boys, but like the boys were the ones that were giving me attention, like eventually, like as I grew older. And so I didn't know anything basically. And now that I've been single like for like 5 years, I actually had a chance to start to think about whatever, and it wasn't that I didn't know that I was always gay, I just didn't know how gay I was.
I always wondered about your sexuality, but I never felt like...
All my best friends are always like, when I go and tell them, hey, I think I'm gay, they're like, hey, we know you're gay. So it's like a thing that I just was so like far removed from the idea. And this is another fucked up thing. All of my life, I have always known one of us in this family is gay. Out of me, my brother, and my sister, one of us has to be gay. That thought was always in my head. And I was always like, is it my sister? I would love her so much if it is. And I was like, is it my brother? I would love him so much if it is.
Looks in the mirror.
Never did I think that it was me, bitch. I was sitting out there and I was like, oh my God. And you know why? Oh, and to go back to the point, I just didn't have the space to explore that portion. So just now am I like, oh my God, I am gay as fuck. But it wasn't like before. It wasn't like I was opposed to it. I was always very like open to that idea, but I never could apply it to myself. Same with polyamory. It's almost like all of my life I have had to, and I'm still doing it. I'm unlearning and unworking through like so much shit. That's why I feel like the idea of that is so cool to me, but somehow it's not like calling my name, but I'm very open to it. But it's not calling my name, and I know that it's because I have to work out all of this shit right now. And right now, my shit is that I don't even like to bend boundaries with friends. In fact, I despite that. I hate when there's like a blurry boundary between friends because I have worked the hardest in my life to get friends. And I cannot let that relationship and connection get fucked up by anything else. And I know that I'm gonna fuck it up if I involve myself with that person in a romantic sense because I'm so much more fucked up romantically than I am like as a person and being your friend. So like to mix that boundary, I know that I'm gonna go and fuck that up because I don't know what to do with myself right now. And so even though you are my friend and you're so good and whatever, I might just fuck it up because I don't know how to handle myself right now.
I think that, the power of manifestation and what you say becomes true. And I think that you should trust yourself a little bit more and knowing that you're not always going to fuck it up. And if you do fuck it up, that's okay too.
I did fuck it up once in the past and I was like,
don't let that like limit you from another opportunity that could be there, because every person is different and your relationship with one person will never be the same as it will be with another person. But that experience still holds something to you, an experience that you learned something from and something that you can like take with you and moving forward.
Yeah. I feel like I just have trouble navigating how deeply I feel. And so when I feel something and then that thing is done, I don't know how to go back to pretending like, yeah, that was something that was done. No, like it's always gonna be like, no, that was a part of me and now it's done. Because I've always been like that. So like I'm having a hard time learning how to, because I'm not gonna lie, like now that I feel that I'm making better friends in my life, I'll meet good dudes, right? I'll have good dudes in my life or like really good girls or whatever the fuck, and they will like, they'll whatever at me, and I'm always like, cut that shit. Cut that shit. But in my mind, I'm like, but that would be so nice because I know them and I trust them and they know me and they trust me and we have this foundation already. But like, why can't I let myself
Are
go
you
over
afraid?
there?
Do you have fear of like taking your friendship to that level and then not being able to come back from it?
Because I don't know how to come back from it. Because I've never been able to come back from it. I'm not friends with, and only one ex of mine is still my best friend today. And that was the first relationship that was able to work that way, and it was because of him, not me. It was because he forced himself to continue.
So going back to what I was saying is like every person is different. So maybe like you shouldn't teeter on the fear side of it, because every person is different, and it could be somebody that you're friends with that, okay, maybe you take it there and then it doesn't work out, but you could still be friends. It has to be somebody else that is open to like open up that can of worms for you, because it's something that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I feel very uncomfortable. I feel very uncomfortable even flirting with people right now. Like I feel like I'm in like a weird hole. Like I'm in a very weird, oh my god. I don't know how I started talking about how I'm so gay, but to add on to that, I just learned what my quote unquote type.
Tell me, I'm gonna be your hitch, and I'm gonna start taking applications for Khanh this week. We're finding
shockingly, it's literally just like a dude inside of a girl's body.
Oh, so like
shockingly, it's just me. I just like myself.
Okay,
it's like
mask.
Like mask, androgynous.
Okay.
Hot, confident. That's it, and funny. That's
Okay.
it. That's
gotta be funny. Good communicator too,
Yeah.
because Khanh doesn't like to
No.
talk. You gotta pick a pride. This
We're
one.
working on it, man.
While we're here.
No, but anyways, I sent this song to my friend, and it's by Young Miko. You know who Young Miko is? So Young Miko is this bitch. She's a Puerto Rican female rapper.
Is this your
crush? Yes, this is my current crush.
Yeah,
but the
Miko,
reason why is because for Alyse, it was like I was sitting outside and I got slapped. Like I swear, like I got like bitch slapped with like this wave of like I find all this time, I'm like, I know that I like girls, but anytime anybody asks what kind of girls that I like, I never know what to say because I don't know what I like. Because I've never actually felt like I love girls. I have a crush on every single fucking girl. But I have never really felt like that.
Are you telling me something right now?
That little, you know? And
You got a crush on me? I'm just kidding.
I'm looking at you with eyes. No, but like it was literally like I have always wondered, like it was almost like I started questioning myself because I was like, are you really gay? Like if you don't know what you like, you know, like that kind of shit. And for the first time ever, I got hit with a wave of confirmation that like
Young Nico.
Young Miko.
I have a friend named Jed Nico. So
oh my god,
that's
so
what I thought. I was like, is that his rap name?
No, but yeah, for the first time ever, I was like, oh my god, this is the feeling that I felt towards men. But I finally feel it with this girl. And not that like I think this girl, like not that I have like a real crush on this girl, like I do, but like she's like
swag.
Yeah, she's like opening up my eyes to like the possibilities of things for me. You know what I'm saying? Because this whole time for like 5 years now, I've been like, I really don't like men. Like I really am not attracted to men. But then I keep like kind of going back to men, and every time I do it, I'm like, oh, this is really gross. And then I go to talk to my friends, and they're like, it's because you're fucking with men. And I'm like, I know, but where are the girls? Now I know what kind of girls I want to look for.
Get ready to get your heart broken. You want to travel down that road, you better put an ice box over your heart.
Oh no, bitch, it's already there. That's why I'm like, who gonna fuck me up?
Who gonna fuck me up?
I'm gonna fuck you up, bitch. I'm just kidding, I won't. But because we are nearing the end of my camera dying, and my good girl doesn't hold on for longer than an hour and a half.
She did good. She did good.
I feel like this was a really nice and fast conversation.
Yeah.
It went by so fast. And I hope that you enjoyed your first recording.
Yes, I enjoyed it so much. Honestly, I was a little nervous.
You can come back anytime.
Thank you. I feel like hearing my own voice is cringe as fuck.
That's what everyone says.
I really, once I got past the first couple minutes of it, you forget that you're wearing headphones, and it's just like having a conversation with your friend. And I hope that this inspires some of you to maybe think about who you're surrounding yourself with, reevaluate your tribe, maybe introduce a girlfriend to your already existing relationship or boyfriend, whatever makes you happy.
Yes, exactly. Just explore different dynamics of ways of living, of ways of being. Like, explore your own love the way that you want to, whether it be with your friends, whether it be with your partner, whether it be with whatever the fuck. With yourself, actually. That's where I'm at right now. Like, I know that I will get there, but I know that, like, I'm just standing here where I'm like, we need to get this good.
Yeah, you know? Girl, self-work is, like, number one on top of any other thing. It's about how you feel on the inside, and that's got to get taken care of before anything else.
Yes, and so to end this #1 comedy podcast about mental health episode, I don't even know what I was trying to say when I started that, but to end this shit, bitch, we're gonna jump into Quit That Shit, which is a segment on our podcast where we hold each other accountable for the things that we're trying to let go of. And by saying it out loud, it's just a different form of manifestation and hearing yourself and holding yourself accountable. So I will start so that you have some time to think.
Okay.
But so my Quit That Shit is something that I have been going on a deep dive about. My Quit That Shit is truly like, I'm gonna quit the narrative of like being so far removed from my culture. Lately, I've been so fucking inspired to learn about Vietnam culture, Vietnam like history, Vietnam, like everything, because I just now realized the reason why I don't feel a sense of community here, and the reason why I try to create it here, is because first of all, I don't have a community, right? But also, I don't have a community at all of the people of my culture. I don't have friends who are constantly speaking Vietnamese to me, telling me about like food, their family, all these different things. So then I go on like a deep dive of the internet, and I find them on the internet, and I'm like, holy fuck, they're out here, but they're not here. They're over there in California or wherever that fucking tribe is. So I need to create it for myself here. So I'm like, I'm coming up with all these different projects and whatever, and it's all about like educating myself and connecting like myself and Vietnamese kids together and whatever. So my Quit That Shit is gonna be quitting the narrative of I want nothing to do with being Vietnamese, and I want everything to do with Vietnamese. I want all of my work. I actually have a project that I'm gonna interpret all into Vietnamese. So like, that's
awesome.
Yeah. But anyways, I quit that shit.
Well, when you have your Vietnamese food day,
yeah,
I'm coming over.
It's gonna be an official dinner party club, bitch, and it's gonna be a moving Vietnamese dinner.
Sign me up. I'll even download Duolingo Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Like
oh, you don't have to. I'm teaching everybody Vietnamese there, baby.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. What is you quitting, Shadi?
Oh, my quit that shit is to quit doubting my artistry post on the gram because I'm tired of sleeping on myself. I always like overlook it and look at the imperfections, but nobody else is gonna notice that. So I need to quit that shit.
Quit that shit.
Put it out there, because since I started putting it out there again, more people are noticing and picking up pace. So follow Artistry by Alyse and see all the stuff that I've been hiding in the archives forever, because it's coming out.
Hell yeah. And also, while we're here, followed, is it Untamed Culture?
Yes,
follow Untamed Culture as well. It is one of our friends, festival bags, wine.
So Untamed Culture is a brand all on its own.
Yes.
And there's going to be different types of drops. The first drop is the most recent one, which is Cultured Cubs.
Yes.
They're upcycled plushies turned into bags for your next festival, concert. It's also great as like a little cuddle buddy when you're at the festy and you get a little overstimulated. Like, they're amazing.
It's honestly genius.
Yeah.
It's been reworked, so everything is recycled and everything, like, and we can't wait for the next drop of whatever that is.
Yes.
And then also I want to put Ash's at too, because of her little design thing. I want people to see it.
Yeah, so we're hosting a fashion show at my civilian job, which is Blue Martini. We're having a fashion show on April 21st, and we're going to be showcasing local designers and their upcycled fashion pieces, and even, first time fresh created fashion pieces. My other friend Ash, her brand is Jairi, and she's going to be showing her pieces. It's like women's clothing. I can't really say much because it is still being released, but the drop will be on April 21st at the Blue Martini Spring Into Fashion Show. I hope to see you guys there. We'll be sharing on our bio the Eventbrite tickets. You can use my name, Alyse10, for a discount code for your tickets. We'll have tons of vendors there, music, food, drinks, all the good stuff. So make sure you check it out.
Yes! And I'm sure that Alyse will be back, so we'll be back for another conversation. Yes. But you can find Mental Chillness on the gram at mentalchillness.podcast, on TikTok at mentalchillness11, on Facebook, Mental Chillness, even though I don't even know the password to that Facebook, and I don't even know who
it's there though if you want to follow. If you're more of a Facebook person. So.
Do it. Find it. Maybe I'll make a Twitter. I don't know. Too much. No. I'm going to take that back. I'm not making Twitter.
Twitter's about to get banned.
Oh, is it really?
I don't know. Who can keep up anymore?
Anyways, I'm MegaCon. Goodbye.